All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for that introduction, Joe. I'm Wes. Happy Friday, everyone. It's good to be with you today. I've got, I think, what might be an interesting case study. I heard in the last session some discussion about, well, where do you find out about some case studies? Well, we've got some interesting customers working with data science. So we've got some interesting customers, and I'm going to tell you about one today. So our mission here at Oracle is to help people see data in new ways, discover insights, unlock endless possibilities. And that aligns very closely with the objectives of data science in general. And data science is certainly an important part of what we're doing. So this story that I want to share with you today illustrates how unlocking data has led to new insights and how those insights are improving the lives of people. Now, our healthcare here in the US has the reputation for being high quality. And the Washington Post reported in August that, quote, for those who can afford it, the United States is known internationally for high quality care. And I think we know that in many cases you can obtain high quality care, but that's not always the experience for everyone. One of the realities of healthcare is that you have to go to different providers for different specialties. And while you may usually start with your primary care physician, you may also see a dermatologist, endocrinologist, urologist, cardiologist, neurologist, orthopedic, and on and on. So unless you are in an HMO, those specialties may be in completely different organizations. Now, Dr. A doesn't have the same information that Dr. B sees, and B doesn't see necessarily what Dr. C sees. It's the responsibility of the healthcare customer to ensure providers have the right information. Now, let me tell you about my own firsthand experience with this. So a few years ago, I decided to change primary care doctors. Now, my old doctor had been in 2 different practices over several years, and I stayed with him as he moved around. But the second private practice was bought out by a large hospital system, and the customer experience deteriorated. You know, we don't even talk about customer experience in healthcare, but it's really important to me. Now, I stuck it out for a while, and even after my doctor quit doing primary care, but I finally moved to a new doctor and a practice. So after all that, I decided if I could obtain all of my records from that previous hospital system and the practices that fed into it, because I wanted to provide my own detailed summary of my health history for my new doctor. And so at first, they just gave me the paper copies of the electronic medical records. And those only went back a few years, and that really wasn't that useful. So I pressed them for the complete records, even going back prior to the electronic medical records. And it took several weeks, but they finally pulled all those pre-electronic records out of their archives, and I finally got everything in a big stack of paper. Then I did actually go through the process of pulling relevant data out of that and summarizing it. And I walked into my doctor one day, gave him a nice set of charts and everything, and it kind of blew him away. So the point here is that it can be difficult getting complete records, even from a single provider. Now, many of you are probably familiar with this law we have called Hipaa, which stands for Health Information Portability and Accountability Act. And it was enacted back in 1996. Now, doctors always want you to acknowledge its existence every time you go in for an appointment. But that law was intended to make our healthcare information more portable. But that doesn't mean your data is actually shared between your different providers. It's because records can't be shared without your permission, and providers will only share records if you tell them to. So along comes this really cool startup called Prosper Digital Therapeutics, also known as Prosper DTX. Now they're taking on this problem of disjointed medical care to help healthcare customers, especially cancer patients, avoid hospitalization. Now, not only are they combining patient data from many different sources, they use the combined data for machine learning models to create predictive and personalized care plans that help customers stay out of the hospital. Integrating multiple sources of healthcare data into what they call a longitudinal patient health record is a big part of what Prosper DTX has been doing since its founding last year. Now, with a newly launched digital therapy platform that runs on Oracle Cloud infrastructure, the company helps capture data from doctors and pharmacies and labs and imaging records, electronic health records, and even wearable device data. So, imagine all these different data sources and data types coming together into this single record. And this patient level longitudinal data can be updated in real time for individual patients. And it's driven by patient consent. The patients are the ones that provide the access to their own data. Now, with any disease, there are preventable and avoidable situations that continually keep coming up. These conditions, if not mitigated, can result in hospitalization. And for cancer patients, a common problem is dehydration. For people with muscular dystrophy, it can be blood pressure changes or bone fractures and chronic constipation. Now, these are things that undermine the quality of life. And Prosper DTX realized they could develop causal models to identify which pathways were causing certain conditions. And with that knowledge, patients and their doctors can actually prevent some of the most expensive and debilitating aspects of healthcare. So Prosper DTX's algorithms identify which people are at highest risk for conditions that result in avoidable hospital stays. And they're using that information to provide care recommendations to patients and their medical providers. Now, another key component of Prosper DTX's innovation is what they call digital therapeutics. These are apps where they engage with the patient with the information and support to help them avoid these unnecessary hospitalizations and adverse medical experiences. These apps are providing information and support recommendations and interactions. And Prosper DTX believes that the combination of this longitudinal health record and the causal inference empowers them to provide true personalized support to patients. Now, Prosper DTX initially explored an on-premises technology solution, but realized it was going to require some significant time to procure and set up the infrastructure. Here's some of their requirements. HIPAA compliant storage for both structured and unstructured data with quick retrieval, long-term archival. They needed a data science environment, machine learning tools to build their machine learning models. They needed a database with quick deployment that's scalable with minimal administration, rapid application development, integration with third-party apps. So a lot of serious requirements there. But they got all this from Oracle Cloud infrastructure, from the architecture you see here. Data from the many different data sources I was talking about, including that streaming wearable data, is collected from various applications and brought into the cloud. Interoperability tools route the data automatically to either object storage or the autonomous data warehouse. And the data science cloud services where the data scientists use data from both object storage and the data warehouse to build the causal machine learning models that drive predictions into their customer-facing apps. And Application Express Apex is used for their rapid app development. So working with our cloud engineers, Prosper DTX reduced their development time from months to weeks and saved a pretty good chunk of money in getting their product to market. I'm just indulge me for a second. I want to tell you a little bit more about the OCI data science, because that's the piece that data scientists are most interested in and working with. This is our cloud service focused on the data scientist throughout the full life cycle of machine learning. There's really kind of three core principles that we used in building this. First is about accelerating the work of the data scientists, giving them access to open source, and getting them access to compute power in a managed way in the cloud for their data science projects. And the second principle is about collaboration. It's going beyond the individual data scientists to enable data science teams to work together. And we do this by promoting sharing of assets and reducing duplicative work and supporting reproducibility and auditability of models for collaboration and risk management. And then really the third is about just being enterprise grade, which means it's taking advantage of the high performance cloud infrastructure. It's providing the security and access controls and providing fully managed infrastructure. So the customer doesn't have to think about provisioning compute and storage. The data scientists can just do their work, and we handle all the maintenance and patching and upgrades for the users. So to wrap up, we're going to play this little video from you. You can kind of hear it from Prosper DTX directly. Go ahead and play the video.
I'm Bob Goldberg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Prosper DTX. We provide digital healthcare plans for patients with cancer. We collect the data that they need to make a treatment decision and to figure out what they want out of their care. And then we move forward with predictive care plans to avoid hospitalization. Our goal is to provide everyone with cancer better care, better health, and better life. In terms of our relationship with Oracle, I would say there's three things that are important. First, cloud is not just a place to migrate data. It's a platform for us to create our product, to iterate product development, and migrate and analyze massive amount of data, which is sort of the heart and soul of what we're doing. We need to analyze that data to provide these beautiful visualizations for patients, but we also need it to help create those roadmaps that mean so much to what we're doing and what patients are seeking. It's allowed us to scale up as a startup. We thought it was going to take us months. It's taken us weeks, which is really amazing. It's not only saved us time, but it's also saved us money. In terms of a dollar amount, I would say the first 6 months, we thought we were going to spend a lot of money. And because of the time and effort that we've saved, it's translated into probably $100,000 in savings for us. I would say that all of that is not just from the technology, it's the service. It's the fact that the Oracle Cloud team are partners in our endeavor. They embrace our mission. And we're moving forward not just because of them, but we're moving forward together. And for a company that is in the business of trying to turn digital information into treatment steps and continuous care, especially at a time of COVID, it's great for us as a business, but most importantly, it's critical to the patients that we care about and the lives that we hope to enrich and save.
Well, I hope this has helped you see the art of the possible. Good luck in your next data science endeavor, and have a great event here this weekend, and thank you.